Hello, everybody. This is Lea Gorgulu Webb, and I'm here today with Melissa Torgbi. Melissa is a data scientist at SAS. Hello, Melissa.
Yeah, SAS.
SAS. I just said that. I realized we were just talking about, is it SAS or SAS? She told me SAS, and I immediately said SAS. It's good to see you again, as always. Melissa, why don't you start by telling us what SAS does?
SAS is a leader in analytics and it's been around for a few decades. And essentially what we do is provide services and solutions for businesses, companies, governments, organizations to help them turn their data into insights and essentially get value from that data.
Oh, excellent. And what is your job title exactly?
I am a data scientist. I'm part of the data scientist team at SAS UK and I.
So you're exactly a data scientist. This is really exciting. You are exactly a woman in data science.
Yeah.
Very good. What does that mean in terms of, like, what are you responsible for?
I guess what my job role kind of looks like is within my company, I have a customer facing role. So because we're trying to help other companies get value from their data, it involves going to like customer meetings and demonstrating how our software works and how they can use it to get insights from their data, and also working on projects with different organizations across a range of industries to help them get value from their data.
Excellent. And what does that mean then in terms of where you work?
Like location wise?
Yeah, sort of physically.
Normally I work from my office, but then depending on where the companies are, we might have to travel to go to a meeting, or for a period of time, if we're working on a project, for example, we might have to go to a certain company's office to work with the data scientists or data analysts in their companies to work alongside them in person on different projects. So it varies again.
So you're not sitting in a cubicle staring at a computer, the same cubicle, the same computer all the time.
Yeah, no, not every day.
It's good to know. I think a lot of people hear data science and they just picture white walls and not moving.
Yeah.
Just not very attractive. And can you tell us about sort of your educational journey? How did you get there?
So I studied electronic engineering at university, and I have a bachelor's degree in that. And then I started working as a data scientist at SAS, which is not necessarily the most natural transition, but it's actually because my department at university was combined with computer science. So they let us take a couple of modules from there. So I took a computer science module called the Foundations of Machine Learning, which kind of exposed me to the wider world of data. But that was only my third year, so I didn't really know anything about data science before that until that third year module, and then kind of just opened my eyes to all the possibilities. And that's kind of how I got into data science.
So, and I don't think your educational journey has ended, is that right?
No, so I am also now currently doing a part-time master's, because the program that I'm on at work is an apprenticeship. So yeah, I work and also study part-time, and my master's will be in, I'm trying to remember this, digital and technology solutions specialist degree.
Digital and technology solutions specialist?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. Well done. Good luck. Whatever it is I should say at this point, to not jinx you. May the force be with you until you finish.
Thank you.
So you've got engineering, you're working at a company as a data scientist, and you're customer facing. How do you use data science then in your job?
Okay, so in terms of the I guess, technical side of data science that I actually use, I work across a range of like data analytics. So there's some data visualization, machine learning, computer vision, natural language processing. I kind of have a bit of freedom in terms of which areas I want to focus on. But right now it includes like the whole range. And there's also a lot of data preparation and things involved in all of those areas as well.
I don't think you can have a job that has data in the title without data preparation.
Yeah.
So, like, what's a project that you can describe for people to sort of bring these different bits all together into one story, maybe?
Okay, so I guess because I work across a range of industries, there's not like necessarily a typical kind of project that I would work on like a typical day or week. So one day I could be working with a bank, another day it could be manufacturing company. But one project that I recently worked on was in healthcare with a big London teaching hospital, and that was actually a natural language processing project. So essentially, we had outpatient letters as our form of data, and that's the letters that clinicians will send to their patients after an appointment. And essentially, what we were trying to do was to extract useful information from those letters. So we were looking at things like diagnosis, so stuff like if a patient had a heart attack, comorbidities, which is a new word that I learned working on this project, which is, they're kind of like similar to diagnosis, but they are not the main diagnosis that you're looking at. So say, for example, if someone's main diagnosis is a heart attack, then a comorbidity might be diabetes, because it's something that's related to it, but it's not the main focus. And then we also looked at extracting things like procedures, so the treatments that the patients were getting to treat these diagnoses. And then the last thing that we looked to extract was the observations, so things like blood pressure or, I don't know, weight and things like that. And so we had all these documents, and sometimes patients would have multiple letters from different appointments. And we essentially went through those using text analytics and natural language processing to extract those key bits of information and then put that into a dashboard that the clinicians will be able to access and see easily to get all the information that they need about their patient.
And did you get to see it do a bit of work? I mean, you got to test it. What did it feel like watching it turn into something then?
Yeah, I mean, we were literally there throughout the whole process, from kind of like defining what the problem was and figuring out how we can use the data to solve that problem, to building the actual, I guess we call it taxonomy. So things where we extract the comorbidities, diagnosis, procedures, and observations, all the way through to building the dashboard, and then testing that as well, and then getting the clinicians to test that for us as well. And yeah, one thing that I definitely learned on this project is the importance of like having industry knowledge, and I guess in this case it was healthcare knowledge, because if it was just us data scientists without the clinicians, we would struggle in terms of like knowing what would be useful information for them to get from the letters and stuff like that. So yeah, the clinicians were very important throughout the whole process as well, and testing it as well.
Very good. That's really exciting. Congratulations. It made me wonder though, while you were talking, so you're I don't want to be like ageist, but you're younger than I am. We'll just say that by a year or two, right? You're not that far away from your degree. So your memories right now of teachers and of secondary school and things like that must be pretty fresh in your mind. When you're working on something like helping doctors get insight from data that they'd never really been able to use before, you know, bringing together these letters. If when you're working on that, did you ever think of any of your teachers, or are there any teachers that stand out for you at all? What was secondary school like for a young person that ends up doing this really important work?
Interesting question.
Yeah, sorry, a little off script.
Wait, let me try and think. So, is there kind of a link between what I do today and my experience at secondary school?
Maybe, or just, was there anyone that, anything, is there anything that you think back to and think, if it weren't for that, maybe I wouldn't be sitting here, or that was helpful, or anything like that?
Well, I think in a lot of jobs, there are transferable skills that you will learn throughout life. And so, for example, in data science, being able to communicate with people in other areas of the business, especially when it comes to the things that you find out from the data, and being able to translate that into a language that non-data scientists can understand, is really important. So yeah, if you're doing like presentations at school and things like that, you might be thinking, oh, another presentation, I don't want to do that. But it actually turns out to be really useful in terms of like, even on the level of having the confidence to speak to other people or a group of people, and to try and convey an idea or message to other people. And yeah, getting your words not in a muddle.
And you did it really well just then while thinking through this new experience, and you came up with the experience, and you did it.
Yeah, that was all on the spot.
Yeah, on the spot. Very good. Well honed skill. Well, we've talked, it seems pleasant, so I might ask you what you like about it in a minute, but first I'll ask you the more difficult question, which is sort of, what are the challenging parts then of being a data scientist for you?
Yeah, okay. So I think one of the most challenging parts, which is also for me an enjoyable part, but it's the, I guess, amount of learning that you have to do, and not just in the beginning, because obviously I am quite early on in my career, so there's bound to be some learning anyway. But I feel like as you progress in your career, you still have to do a lot of learning. So whether that is looking at working with different industries, because I guess in my job role, I have the privilege of working across different industries. And if you're trying to help them use their data in a useful way, you kind of have to understand how the industry works, and so that they can get that value from the data. And if you're a data scientist like me, it might be an industry that you've never really been exposed to before. So you kind of have to do research and talk to people and understand what their actual needs are. So that can be a challenge sometimes in terms of not having that knowledge and then having to find ways to gain that knowledge. There's also other areas of learning. So data science is such a broad field, like you could literally do any kind of data analysis. So all the ones that I've mentioned before, like machine learning, natural language processing, all these different areas. Sometimes it can be not necessarily overwhelming, but you have to figure out where you want to put your energy, especially for like a certain period of time, because there's so much out there that you could do. One challenge might be figuring out what you want to focus on for a certain period of time.
A science career or a data career really makes one spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
But it also can be overwhelming choice-wise. Like, oh, well, I thought I decided I wanted to work with data, but that doesn't seem to limit the options, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good, but it's also a challenge as well. The other thing, again, around the point of learning is that within data science, you don't just learn about data science. Sometimes you have to learn about other areas of technology as well. So, for example, we've been learning a lot about cloud computing, even though it's not necessarily specifically data science, it's related. And yeah, so there's other areas that you have to learn about as well.
There are many layers to many onions in data science.
quote by Lea.
Yeah, there's not one onion, and there's certainly not one layer. Yeah. So do you feel like, so what do you like the best? I'll go ahead and give you the, is there a thing you like best?
I think the thing that I like best is the problem solving aspect to data science. So kind of the way that I see it is that data science is all about solving problems using the data, or finding questions that people don't necessarily have the answers to, and then using the data to answer those questions. So I guess that's one of the things that I like the most about data science, is finding solutions to those problems using the data. And that might be in a business or a company to help them make better decisions, or maybe to help someone improve their customer service, or even to help like things like social good. It can be used like across a range of different places. And yeah, seeing those solutions come to light is really, really cool, I think.
And what about the pay, Melissa? So as a starting out data scientist, do you feel like, I don't want to just say, are you paid enough? But what do you feel the pay is like compared to other things that you might have done in life?
I feel like I'm paid pretty well as a data scientist.
Good. And you seem like you're really proud of your work, and I think it sort of shows through. I'll answer that question for you, that you can be proud of your work. I mean, it sounds like you're doing terrific work, and we're all really lucky to have you in that position, doing that work and starting your career and joining us in building the brave new world. So good. That's is there anything else that you'd like to say to the young people out there in the world today who might be in lockdown doing their ICT homework, for example?
I guess I would say persevere, even if you maybe think that it maybe not that interesting or boring. It will turn out to be very useful in the future.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, well, thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you. And we'll put you among our other featured interviews of women in data science in the UK.
Thank you, Lea.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.